All right, give me a big clap. Everything is synced.
All right.
Before we continue, I'm going to do my one-handed... That was clean.
Should have shotgunned it.
Hey, chat to me. How was this morning?
Good. We flipped. Probably see a class like that more on a Thursday, which kind of complements CrossFit's like 3 days on, 1 day off. But obviously in a class, weak environment, people don't always have the freedom to do 6 days of training in a row or always can get in when they want. So it's nice to have like a low impact day. But just because it's low impact doesn't mean you can't get good intensity.
So we're talking about that 10 rounds of rowing, right?
Yeah, 10 rounds, 500 meter row for guys, 400 for the ladies, 1 for 1.
Did anyone sort of blow it a little bit early and then just struggle the rest of the session?
I'll tell you, Chris Evans, dude, shout out to Chris. So fit right now. I think he started at a minute 49 pace, and then he built his way up to a minute 30 pace. So he did negative splits and pretty much perfectly dropped off 2 seconds every single effort.
Damn.
He's very fit right now.
Did anyone do the opposite and go... Did you say negative splits?
I tried to promote negative splits or come out at like an 8 out of 10 on the first effort and then try to hold on to your pace. So, recoverability was tested. But I think most people went negative splits, which was good to see.
Nice. And then tomorrow we have the 12 days of DuxCast. The workout that I dread programming every single year. Personally, just because I think it's stupid. But people want to do it, and we're doing it.
Yeah, it's fun. It'll be fun. It's a big day. Big class, big group.
So we haven't been on for a while, so I guess the purpose of today is just to cover a few things, talk about the year that's been, and discuss anything that may be of interest for next year as well. Bring up anything that you want to touch on that we've been doing the last few weeks or months.
Man, we have been talking about doing this probably for 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's actually nice to be sitting here.
If I didn't have to set this up every single time, I just like sort of leave it out here. I could maybe just like throw a little cover over this, because that's my barrier, just like setting everything up and then taking everything down.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's been what a year. Like personally, I have never progressed more in my life or seen as many changes as a coach, as an athlete, as a man than I have this year. And I know it's not all about me, but what I want to highlight is the big changes that have gone on at Dux, like with the programming, coming back to the methodology a little bit. It's been a really influential year. I'm really happy with how strong we've ended the year as well, and how we're starting to see like a lot of benefit from these changes that you and I have been maybe working on over the last 12 months.
I can also confirm there are some pretty big and awesome changes coming in the near future as well. So getting really excited about that. And actually this morning I was like dialing in a whole bunch of systems that we've got in place to make next year on the 1st of January, start off with a massive bang. I'm keen. But before then, we've got a whole bunch of new things. I've got a pretty sick back end of the year. So tomorrow we're doing the 12 days of DuxCast. That's always just like
Fun.
a rip snorter. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is basically normal, apart from Wednesday. No Wednesday night classes. Open gym up till 5 p.m. if you've got the Access app. When's Christmas Day? Thursday? Christmas Day, Thursday. Friday is Boxing Day, so we've decided to run one big community class. Did I say 7 or 8? 7 a.m. It is a belter as well. I'm really looking forward to that. And then we've got our swim workout on the 27th of December. So I've actually pre-hired the Ithaca pool. I guess if you're interested in coming, a quick little logistic thing that we're going to do, we're going to meet at the gym at 7 a.m. We're going to try to organize some carpooling so we don't have every single car down at the pool. I'll drive my car and maybe 2 or 3 other people can drive their car. We'll sort of carpool down there. And then we're going to start at 7:30. We're going to swim 500 meters. From there, you need to focus on transitioning and like what shoes you're going to wear and like just have like a towel or a bag ready to kind of like throw all the stuff that you don't want to be running with. I grab that, I put it in my ute, I drive back. You guys run 2Ks basically from the pool back to the gym, and then we'll have a third movement once you get into the gym, yet to be disclosed, and that will end your workout, which is going to be super sick. And that way I'll drive back with everyone's stuff, everyone's keys, bags, whatever, and then once we all finish, then we can organize who needs to drive back to the pool to grab your car if you helped carpool down there. But a little bit of logistics going on, but it's going to be sick. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm keen, very keen to do some outside of the box stuff. And that kind of reminds me of why I love CrossFit. It's easy to do like your standard grind every single day, a week, month. But to me, like the Christmas time kind of feels like the CrossFit Games for us. It's like, all right, let's do something long. Let's get outside the box. Let's, like test our fitness rather than just doing the same shit over and over again.
And don't forget, the things we do inside the gym are just preparing us for things that are outside the gym and everyday life. And I know it's not everyday life. You do a 500-meter swim and run outside, but that's more practical to your real life than a perfect barbell that's lined up with bumper plates. Like we do that to prepare for the unknown and unknowable. Yeah. So it's actually nice when we go out and we do stuff like that because it shows you what real fitness is.
Yeah. And the barbell needs to be the same style plate on each side. You can't have like an old 20 plate on this side and a new 20 plate on this side. What are you, crazy? You've got to have the exact same one. Same color clips on the outside. That's what I was doing for when I was doing the semifinals. I'm like, if I don't have red clips on the outside, because I associate with red with going fast, like a red convertible, I'm like, I need the red clips on the outside because that associates going fast. If I have the blue clips, that's cold, that's slow. I need red.
That's crazy.
That's what was going through my head. And it kind of like distracted me from the pain that was going to come. Just like focus on going fast.
Have you ever heard the saying that superstition is an excuse to lose?
No.
So Conor McGregor said that. He said, I don't believe in superstitions because you just give yourself an excuse to lose. That if you're not wearing your red clips, if you're not wearing your favorite underwear, if you're not wearing your budgies before your game of rugby or whatever, you've just given you an excuse or a cop-out to lose.
Did he say that before he lost?
No. Before he retired. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Malcolm in the Middle?
Oh, very rarely.
Bro, maybe you're a bit young. The dad's bowling and he gets a strike and he tries to remember what he did to get the strike. He's like, I think I adjusted my socks. So he adjusts his socks and then he gets another strike. And then he's like trying to it's almost like Chinese whispers in his head. He's like, by the time he gets to like the 9th or the 10th round, he's got like strike. And then his lead up to his next bowl was like 10 or 20 different things. Yeah. He's like, I think this is what I did. And that got me into my superstition stuff.
There you go.
Where do we start? What do we want to touch on? I guess we can touch on the fact that I've been lacking in the morning classes a little bit, but I've been hanging out a lot at the nighttime classes. And a few faces that I haven't seen in a while. But the night times are ripping and snorting. It's going to be really good shit. I've been really enjoying sort of like coming at the PMs a lot more, but I have missed the AM class. How's the AM classes going?
AM is so solid. I don't really see the evenings, obviously. I only work the mornings, but that 5 and 6 right now, energy's high, community's high. We're getting 20 to 30 in our classes. Obviously, Christmas time, we're starting to pull back a little bit. We're seeing some more just random people rocking up to different classes, which is actually quite nice, getting a different idea of different coaching, different feeling, different vibe in the classes. But man, that morning, people that are doing that class are doing really well. Especially, obviously, that 5 and 6 with big numbers. And I think there's a lot of patience in that group as well, and a lot of, it's almost like a mutual respect. I don't think anyone wants to train at 5 a.m. But I think that early in the morning, there's you know what, you're doing this for a reason, I'm prioritizing this for a reason, so let's just get to work and then let's enjoy it afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
And that kind of highlights how many strong-minded people we have. There's the people that do it at 5 a.m. and the people that probably need to do it at 5 a.m. due to kids or work or whatever. And they just, there's not much complaining going on at 5 a.m. Someone actually said it to me. They're like, oh, I can't believe 5 a.m. is busy. And I'm like, could you imagine if it wasn't?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when I get to work, I only do one morning at the moment. But, like, if I'm coming to work and I get here at 4:30 and I wait till 5 and, like, 3 people rock up, the energy might be low. But the fact that you've got 25, maybe 30 people, like, waiting on your every move to, like, kickstart the day and to, like, make sure everything's on a strict timeline, like, I feel like I owe it to them to be as professional and as straightforward as possible to kickstart everyone's day. And I'm more than awake, even though I haven't had breakfast. I've had one coffee, and I feel more alert at 5 a.m. because I've got people waiting for me to tell them what to do over another class where it's like back end of the day, you're a little bit more relaxed. Or if there was only like 3 or 4 people in the class, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think in the morning you're on a time frame. It's like, okay, I've got to get to work. I've got to get home to get the kids ready for school. So I'm going to use this time. Like, you don't have time to fluff about. And that's what I think, like, it's a different mindset. If you're training in the afternoon, it's like, hey, I've actually done the work I need to today. I just got to go home, cook dinner, watch whatever show I'm watching, shower, go to bed. But I think in the morning, it's up. Let's get after it. Let's start the day strong. This is no one else's time. It's not my wife's time. It's not hubby's time. It's not kids, my boss. Like, no one can disrupt this time right now. This is just for me. And I'm personally, that's why I'm a morning person. I want to get in and get it done.
Yeah. You hear that static?
Yeah.
Try just pushing that in, or what that is. These twist a little bit as well.
I just unplugged mine. Plugged it back in. Can you hear me? I'm not on. Oh, it's outside. That's so funny. And now I can't hear you through
What is
my
it? It's like a tap or something.
Yeah, I can't hear you through my headphones either.
Alright. I'll decide whether I want to like cut that out or not, and then
Yeah,
we
just
look
cut
like
it out.
fucking.
Just cut it
We
out.
just look like fucking idiots for the last 30 seconds.
Well, I'm not on. What can I do?
You're not on?
No.
Oh.
There's a button?
No, make sure that's plugged in properly. Sometimes you got to twist it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wrong. Okay. Good.
So we got the, I guess the 2026 season is fast approaching.
Wait, before we get into that, I made a comment before, just some changes that we've made this year. I'm really excited to like address some things that have gone on in the gym, programming wise, behind the scenes, some changes. I mentioned before how we have, we had a conversation probably 12 months ago about where we wanted to go as a gym and what we want to represent. And I think it was a really powerful conversation. And I think it's important that we share this with how we looked and reviewed where our programming was at, and we said, is this how we want to be moving forward as a gym? As a gym that's represented under the CrossFit umbrella, is the program or are the things that we're teaching as coaches true to the methodology? And I think what's important to address is that we've made these changes now to come back to this traditional style CrossFit that meets the definition of what the CrossFit is. And I think it's really beneficial from an educational point of view to maybe like talk about these changes, why we made those changes, and the difference to where we're at now to where we once were. Because we have seen some really big changes in the last 12 months with our programming. And obviously we're now working together, a lot of behind the scenes work to do everything professionally that we can to put the best program forward. But I think it's important to talk about it because we do get a lot of questions about the programming and where it comes from. And I think it's cool that our members are interested in what or the why behind what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think back to when I first started CrossFit, the methodology was like key. There was no like, the sport of CrossFit was just kind of like the side that got pushed off to the side, and everyone was just focusing on the methodology and following the training methods that were tried and tested. I guess having varied but not random is really important. And so you've got a few like skeleton bench, skeleton programming that you want to sort of follow, and you want to like keep ticking off them boxes like squat, deadlift, press, pull, push, all that stuff. And then you want to be varied in the form of stimulus, working through the phosphogenic phase, the glycogenic phase, and the oxidative phase in order to cover your base. And there is a Goldilocks zone as well, where we want to be kind of like generally living between like that 7 to 12 minute mark, but we do need to dabble in sprints and long endurance stuff and different modalities in that direction. So I'm constantly thinking about that when we do look at the program as an overarching theme, is to like, how is it feeling different? Is it feeling different, or is it feeling the exact same but just in a different muscle group? It's like if every workouts were just like 3x5 back squat, 10-minute AMRAP, 3x5 deadlift, 3 rounds for time that takes roughly 10 minutes, 3x5 next movement, and then a chipper that takes roughly 7 to 10 minutes. Like, to me, that's not CrossFit.
Yep. And that was the premise of our conversation, was where like, let's literally look at the definition of CrossFit: constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity, and how are we meeting that in our CrossFit sessions. And across the week, we need to be varied enough through that stimulus that each day is going to hitting a different, like you said, energy system, movement pattern, different modalities. Are we lifting? Are we doing gymnastics, conditioning? What are the combinations of those three as well, which we would refer to as MWGs? And I think it's really cool that we've come back to that. We've reintroduced, or we've taken a lot of pride in our heavy days recently, bringing back in lifting on specific days. You'll actually notice in your programming as well, in your weekly programming, that we are no longer programming on percentages, and we're very, very rarely giving you guys RPEs to work off. And I think this is really important. If you were to look into CrossFit.com and the programming that they release, you will very rarely, if not ever, see a percentage or a guideline given for your strength. Because the time after you lift and the time it takes till you're doing another heavy day will be so varied in the type of day, in the type of stimulus you're doing, that you can afford to lift heavy on that day. You do not need the guideline to say, for us to say, we're going to lift at a 7 out of 10, because that 7 out of 10 will be so varied. We don't know what your day-to-day variance looks like. So when you come into the gym, we're not going to be trying to tell you how to do something or how to lift. Well, you're going to come in and you're going to go, you know what, I feel great. I'm going to lift something heavy today. And then tomorrow, you're going to do some body weight or some conditioning work. And then the day after, you'll have a different stimulus as well. And then maybe it's 7-10 days later that you actually see another heavy day again, which gives you that license to lift. So I think the moment you go above the general programming that we offer in our classes, which we call General Physical Preparedness, GPP, and you maybe lend to the sport side of things, or maybe you have ambitions to get a little bit stronger, maybe you do the Dux weightlifting class, hey, maybe you're here to get better at another sport, maybe you have a hobby outside of here. That's when we can lend towards giving you percentages, RPEs, because we're trying to give you extra volume for the week. But I love in our classes that we've stripped it back with our lifting to, this is a heavy day, let's lift heavy. This is our stimulus, show me what you got today.
Yeah. And it's not a one size fits all, because there's going to be someone that didn't sleep the night before, maybe they're coming through something, and they're going to be like, well, I don't want to lift heavy today. And I think that our coaches are smart enough to be like, for you, I want you to be hitting a 6 out of 10 today because of where you're at right now, in the form of like, you didn't sleep, you just had a kid, you're struggling with this or that, or some type of pre-existing injury that you've got. So it would be amiss from us to not like give people an example of what they could hit if they weren't up for the challenge for the day. But at the end of the day, like, we're creating self-sufficient humans as well. Like, I think most of our members are actually really switched on with how to respond to certain lifting methods, or that I feel like a lot of my members actually know more about CrossFit than some CrossFit coaches.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I actually think about this, like, if I just got in a car accident, touch wood, and didn't make it to work, and no one knew where I was, and one of the members had to like run the class, I would actually feel quite competent in their ability to do that. And they've heard us say so many things on the reg over and over and over again. It's like, hey, if you're not feeling it today, you're just aiming for like a 6 out of 10, and I want you to just go through the movements. If you feel better after that, feel free to ramp it up. If not, high five, so glad you came, and you're just being better by being here and just working through them squat cleans anyway. It doesn't need to be a 1 rep max, even though we're suggesting if you're feeling good, let's push the boundaries today. But I think everyone knows, and maybe from the outside looking in, if you weren't a part of my class, you might not hear that. Maybe we don't have a big paragraph in the app on what you should do if your baby was crying all night last night, but my coaches are more than equipped, and myself is more than equipped to give every single person in my class the adequate attention that they need if they're not interested in hitting whatever we're doing for the day. Or if we're saying, hey, we're looking to build up to a 3 rep max today. Well, I hurt my foot playing touch football. It was like, dude, all good. I get it. This is where we go from there. But yeah, tangent. Just went on a tangent.
I think it's important to put some responsibility on the athlete as well. Like something that you maybe missed when you just said that is the technical side of things as well. Like, hey, today we're doing a squat snatch. How many people do we know, if a squat snatch is the heavy day, should be actually unloading on a heavy squat snatch? That should be your goal. That's what we should be striving to do. But maybe that's not appropriate for you, so you should be stripping back and doing technique. Us as coaches will give you, or as programmers, we will put you in an opportunity with simpler lifts to still lift heavy, so you can move the needle for your strength and you can get better strength. But especially when it comes to Olympic lifting, like, we need to be really switched on and have awareness on, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where my technique's at. This is what I need to do to get better. And most people shouldn't be maxing out your Olympic lifts, because that's not even a strength movement. That's a power-based movement itself. And I think then as well, you become so coachable when you understand that you have so much room to improve and get better at those lifts. And that looks different for everyone. Day one, coming in and you're on the PVC or the pipe or the broomstick, or you're been snatching for 5 years, and we have those micro cues that we can give you to try to get you a little bit better. So I think it's important to understand that. Just because we're saying today's a heavy day, we're going to lift heavy, doesn't mean you have the license to max out.
Yeah.
It means you need to have some awareness and be coachable from those coaches that are in your session.
Yeah, them heavy days can be quite varied as well. So yeah, I find that the majority of people, maybe they've been doing CrossFit for like a year or two, and they've done bodybuilding in the past, and now they're jumping into this new way of training. Their strength's probably here, their technique's probably here. So a heavy day could look like, let's bring your technique up and your strength down a little bit, potentially, so they just catch up, and then we can progress forward. So that's what a heavy day can look like. It's like, yeah, squat snatch, you're going to give me a power snatch, then I want you to move your feet, and then I want you to give me 2 perfect overhead squats. And you might feel like you're stepping backwards because you're not snatching as much as Mary Jo over here, but that's going to move the needle for you going forward. And they're the things that are going to tweak from athlete to athlete. So that's why we might not have a big description on what to do in this circumstance. And that's why I have the amazing coaches that I have, because they have the experience to hit a different thing for a different person depending on where they're at in their life.
So hot topic, probably another big change that we've made. You guys would have noticed a massive increase to your gymnastics volume, specifically your strict volume as well. This is something that Greg and I talk about so much, that Olympic lifting is, if you ever look at a CrossFit pyramid, what we would say the importance of what your training should be made up of, Olympic lifting is really high, meaning it's not overly important in our training program. We, at the bottom of the pyramid, it's nutrition. We come up, we have our metabolic conditioning, we come up layers, and you'll find gymnastics and then lifting. But this year, especially probably in the last 3 months, we have really been working on increasing our strict numbers for our gymnastics. Greg, you've just done Cindy every day, or 10 rounds of Cindy every day for 30 days. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I continually wrestle in my head with like, when someone's like, hey, I really want to get that bar muscle up, or I really want to get some kipping handstand push-up action. And then I see people struggling to do 3 push-ups. And I almost feel like I've failed as a gym owner sometimes to be like, oh, I think we're prioritizing all these really sexy movements. And then when I share the quote that Greg Glassman always says, like master the basics. And then when you feel like you've mastered them, start again, but this time look for a fresh angle. And in my eyes, like doing things like strict pull-ups, push-ups, and a bodyweight squat with really good technique, doing things like a shoulder press, a push press, a back squat, a deadlift. These are just like the meat and potatoes of what our training should really look like, and you want to be really competent with that. And I can guarantee you a gymnast that walks in and does an iron cross can knock out a metric fuck ton of strict pull-ups, but you know what, like it doesn't always work the other way. So when we did a workout probably, I don't know, 6 months or so ago, it might have been Cindy or something like that. And I just noticed a lot of people were really struggling with their push-ups and their pull-ups, or I can see them doing kipping pull-ups, but I know they can't do many strict pull-ups. So I just wanted to step into that leadership role, and even just like not super announce it or anything. I just wanted to just see what my capacity was like in my pull-ups and push-ups and squats. And after just doing it for 3 or 4 days, I was quite sore. And then from 4 days onwards, my soreness vanished. My volume needed to be increased almost twofold in order to get the same amount of soreness between days 5 and 10, and then even more so from days 10 to 20. And I remember we programmed Angie in there and ended up doing Angie, 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 air squats. I ended up just doing another couple more air squats to get to my 10-round quota. But I wasn't sore whatsoever the next day. At the end of the 30 days, I ended up doing Chelsea, which is 30 rounds, 5, 10, 15, kept it as strict as possible, and didn't really pull up sore at all. So the volume tolerance was really important. That's going to help reduce risk of injury. And now I'm actually trying to layer that into my strict bar muscle up programming, which is, you can't hide from that shit. I can't like swing, kip, and get up and over. I need to be pulling that bar to my belly button. And I find that all that strict pull-ups and push-ups really helped me build the strength that I needed in my rotator cuff and my pulling and my pushing capacity. And I think that I'm in a much better position to go ahead and aim to be better at the more complex lifts. And when I see someone walk in, they're like, oh, I see a bar muscle up. I really want to get it. And like, I'm not going to push them away from that goal, but I just think people need to just have them pull-ups and push-ups down pat. And I don't want to be like, you need to have X amount of pull-ups or else it's a no-go. Because I think, I don't know the last time someone hurt themselves doing a bar muscle up. Kipping handstand push-ups, different story for a different day. But I don't think it's important to be like a Nazi when it comes to like, you're not allowed to do this. But I would almost be like, all right, you want to do this? Let's practice. All right, show me a strict pull-up. Oh, you can't do a strict pull-up? How are we going to get that bar close to your hips? And then it's going to be just like probably 2-part strength, 1-part skill at the beginning. And then we can change that to like 1-part strength, 2-part skill until we can kind of like get you up and over the bar. But I think it's just at its simplest form, a strict pull-up and a push-up is just like by far the best type of training you can do if you want to get good at anything more complex. And I think the same can be said, I'd hate to see someone hurt themselves on a snatch when they don't feel competent overhead squatting that weight as well. And we're not going to always have them checks and balances like, oh, show me what you can overhead squat before we snatch it. But it's just a good reminder of where we do want to live, and we shouldn't always be chasing that sexy stuff. Sometimes the boring stuff is the most important stuff, and if you can make it not boring and really exciting, then you're going to be a better athlete for it, 100%.
I don't think people look at gymnastics, like, let's take the example of lifting, because I think this is where most people live in. We pull broomsticks out, and I'm guilty of this as well, and I'm a coach. We pull broomsticks out, and we're like, okay, show me your overhead squat. And whatever your deficiency is with a broomstick, we're probably going to see it in with the barbell.
Yeah.
There are some exceptions, like with your front rack, the extra weight can pull you down. Now, take that same mindset across to your gymnastics, and all right, even if you're already progressing and you're starting to get your first bar muscle up, whatever we're seeing with your strict movements or what lacks with your strict gymnastics is probably going to be the answer when it comes to getting your first bar muscle up.
Yeah.
So it's, yes, you might just be banging your head against the wall when you don't have the upper body strength yet to do 5, 7, some coaches say up to 10 strict pull-ups before, I've said that before doing your first bar muscle up.
Yeah.
But you're not doing enough strict, and you're so capable of doing strict work, and it is the equivalent of trying to get your air squat better to get your snatch heavier. And sometimes we would never, as coaches, prescribe a squat snatch to someone who couldn't do an overhead squat, at least with a broomstick, without at least moderate to sexy technique.
Yeah.
And so I know sometimes the goal is to do the bar muscle up. It looks great, it's fancy, but you need to dial yourself back and live within this strict world where you can get your numbers better. And I guarantee that's only going to lend to you getting that bar muscle up quicker. And just because maybe you're starting your technique or you're starting your journey to get it, it doesn't mean you also ignore your foundational work too.
Yeah.
Like throughout the year, talking about something that like you did with Cindy, Kelly and I did Murph every day for a month. So you talk about, we're talking 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats. And right now, after I did that, I would not recommend that level of volume for anyone, but it was after we did it, I realized how capable that we are as athletes, that we need to be doing the strict work daily, multiple days a week, and doing strict pull-ups twice a week isn't enough. Yeah. For example, if your goal is to get a bar muscle up, then you need to be doing that multiple days a week.
Yeah.
And working on your foundation, growing that, getting it better is just going to lend to absolutely everything because you're more capable than you actually realize.
Yeah. I can do pull-ups, push-ups, and squats every day of the week. I can't do kipping ring muscle-ups, kipping handstand push-ups, and squat snatches every single day of the week. So, and lastly, with the air squat, and the purpose behind coaching the shit out of people in the warm-up when we maybe program something like an air squat, and I see them rolling their eyes sometimes, or they're just like, I'll wait till it gets heavier and then I can get my chest up more. It's like, dude, you need to be moving your body in the form of an air squat with pride, knees tracking out over the toes, keep the weight on your heels, keep your chest up, and that will transfer over to you holding a really good looking position when you've got the bar over your head. But looking down at the floor, just succumbing your lower back to rounding and waiting for a little bit of weight to balance against is not going to help get you better at a position in a squat. If anything, it will just give you a little bit of burn in the quads, and that's not really what we're after when we're trying to do hundreds and hundreds or thousands of reps of air squats. So it's really easy to kind of move like shit with an air squat.
And I'll give you an example with the gymnastics. I'll use Alex Johnson in the 5 a.m. class as the example. We started working together. He's doing the class. He initially started with the bodybuilding upstairs. He's worked his way into the CrossFit class. He told me his goal was a bar muscle up. He probably had 5 to 7 strict pull-ups. In 12 months, he logged over 20 strict pull-ups in a row now, and his bar muscle ups have gone from 3 to he nailed, I think, 16 in a row the other day. And I don't see it as a coincidence that his strict pull-ups also went from 5 to 7 to 20, and he's now doing 15 or 16 unbroken bar muscle ups. And so, like, that's the perfect example of, hey, he did so much work. He elevated his strict pull-ups, and all of a sudden his lat, his upper body strength, his body awareness, his capability of gymnastics has gone through the roof. He's now doing handstand push-ups, so it's not just the pulling that's gotten better, it's the foundational upper back work that he's taken pride in is now translating to other areas in his CrossFit. He's now doing full front rack front squats, which he never had the capabilities. Sorry, Alex, I know you're working on it. You're doing well. But that's an amazing example of pull-ups carrying across the bar muscle.
100%. Not to mention the reduced risk of injury as well with like having all that strength. Well, let's move on from that.
2026?
2026, baby. So some dates got released for the CrossFit Open. Quarterfinals is back, top 25%. That will lead into the semifinals. and then the games and whatnot. We also have dates for High Rocks if anyone's interested in doing that. Has it sold out yet?
I believe so. There might be a second that usually they...
It looks like I'm not doing it then.
Yeah, it looks like they do 2 rounds of tickets. So hopefully we'll get a post up or something for High Rocks, which is just a CrossFit workout. Don't forget, we do harder things on the daily basis, but it is a great test for your fitness. And I would say we have a weightlifting comp.
Yes,
coming
and
up.
we have a weightlifting comp as well
Huge.
in Feb.
And so the start of the year is massive. And although competing is only one element of CrossFit, the CrossFit Open this year, we're hoping to have our biggest community event yet. We're already talking about preparations for the Open, that even if this is your first year at Dux, that we want as many people from our gym to be signed up, ready to test your fitness and give yourself, whether it's your first time, give yourself a foundation of where your fitness is at relative to the world, or it's your second time and you want to see how far you've come from this year to last year, or maybe you're a competitor who is trying to get ranked on the leaderboard to test your fitness among your peers. Everyone, and we're going to have more information about this in the coming weeks, but everyone should be prepared to sign up for the CrossFit Open.
And also, as a little side quest as well, the reasons why we have all them brand new bumper plates is because we're one of the highest participating open registration in a certain field. So we got a quite nice, hefty Rogue voucher for the gym. So that's always going to be a nice little reward as well if we get a big showing. But the competition is just one side of thing. It's the fact that you're just getting outside of your comfort zone a little bit, and that's where that growth happens, whether it's on an Olympic weightlifting platform. Even if you're not an Olympic weightlifter and you consider yourself a diehard CrossFitter like myself, stepping onto the platform is just a different beast, and you can really learn a lot about yourself. And the barbell doesn't really give a shit about the fact that your PB just snatched 3 or 4 years ago, or what you did in training. All it cares about is your execution when you step up onto the platform. Same thing when you do a CrossFit competition or the CrossFit Open. It's like the only thing that really matters is how hard do you want to work right now in this moment, and not, it's, your talk is cheap. And so it really helps, I guess, with your life, and you can like channel into other things as well about what you are as a person, how you kind of conduct yourself, and rather than just talking about it, you step up to the challenge, and usually you never regret it.
And to add to that, a big part of CrossFit is, we mentioned at the start of the podcast, is preparing for the unknown and unknowable. We need to know as a person, not even like a professional athlete, just as your everyday person, it's good to see where you need to get better in life as an athlete. Are there movements that you can't do? Is there a limitation with your lifting? Is there a limitation with your gymnastics? Is it your metabolic conditioning? And the thing about the Open is we do not know what we're preparing for. There are biases that we normally see that are tested each year, but generally they are things that we do not know are coming. Anything can be programmed, which I think is super exciting, apart from like the nerd side that you and I dive into, the passion that we have. But for you guys, I think it's important that you show up and you truly test yourself with something that you don't know. And talking about revealing your character, then you get not just judged because you're on a leaderboard and you're 1,000th in your age group in Queensland. I don't care about that. What I care is that you get exposed somehow, because now you know what you need to work on and how much progress that you can have with your training once you know what area you need to work on. To me, that's exciting.
Yeah, 100%.
After 11 years for you being a gym owner, this is going to be my 5th CrossFit Open, probably don't even know how many for you, but 16 years, and every single year, probably for Greg, same with me, 5th year in a row now, I'm excited to fail at something, because now I know what I need to work on, and that's going to be on Monday morning, the week after the Open. That's what I'm tacking. That's what we want to see, so you can actually get better now.
Yeah, you see so many people with fire in their eyes after or before the Open, and And then you see a few people kind of like cowered away from the challenge as well. So the challenge is thrown out there. You know, you really want to like test yourself, and we're going to tackle it as a community, as a gym. So you've got a really good group of people behind you. If you are a little bit nervous, you've got coaches behind you. You've got good programming behind you, and you've got a good fucking place to do it at.
Facts.
What else do we need to touch on?
Short and sharp. I think
Short and sharp.
Well, we're going to try to like get together a lot more. This was 2026 resolution, but no, we've been speaking about this for 6 months, and we just think it's important to touch base, drop little bits of education. We want to hear like some feedback from you guys, stuff that you want us to talk about as coaches as well. Seeing maybe members get involved, and like we can take through some podcasts, but like we're hoping that we have a more or a better channel of communication from us as coaches to the members now and to you all, so we can maybe give you even more of a service as coaches in 26.
Yeah. And just to wrap up, there are a lot of exciting new changes coming, more details to come, but in the meantime, we've got the silly season coming up, and I just associate the silly season with working hard, doing some fun workouts, getting outside the gym a little bit, and hitting 2026 rolling, and don't sink yourself in piss for the next 2 weeks, please. Be an athlete, and we'll see you on the next one.